Hello, I'm Stephen Tang. I'm here to discuss the history of cloud computing and its impact on business. The concept of cloud computing came from the during the 1960s by the name of J.C.R. Licklider through his development of the ARPANET. The purpose of it was his concept was to have everyone interconnected with each other and have all the programming and information be exchanged with each other limitlessly. Cloud computing, in its actual form, initiated through Salesforce.com in 1999. This was done when the company started providing software applications through its own website. Amazon steps in the early 2000s, in 2003, through Amazon Web Service, and initiated a cloud-based service by offering storage, computational, and human intelligence. It later launches Elastic Computing Cloud that allows companies to rent computers and run their own computer applications. In 2009, Google and other browser-based companies start offering browser-based applications such as Google Play and the Apple Store. Cloud computing is, what many could say, is the future of business. Factors that contributes to its increasing success and reliance is increased bandwidth, increased advancements of virtualization machines, and increased interoperability of the software. The key thing for cloud computing that makes it attractive to businesses is increased data storage and increased flexibilities through outsourcing its infrastructure.
Cloud computing is surely affecting businesses and how they operate, for the better or for worse. Here are some advantages that cloud computing has to offer. One of the biggest changes is how it helps affect small businesses. Cloud computing will allow these businesses to scale globally with significantly reduced costs. For example, instead of having on-site infrastructure during operations, companies can access this infrastructure as a service from a service provider. These costs will also be saved because there's less IT staff needed to maintain the cloud network. This in turn gives businesses more options when setting up their infrastructure. Another advantage that cloud computing has to offer is that it allows employees to work at home or on the road. This allows them to do tasks that they would normally do while in the office, and because of cloud computing, employees can bring their own devices, such as their own iPad or laptops to the office, which they are more familiar with, and this can help lead to more productivity and efficiency from the workers. Another advantage that cloud computing has to offer is that it will open up a new generation of products and services that weren't possible because of geographic and price limitations. While still a work in progress, it will be interesting which new companies we see arise from this shift in technology, even players such as YouTube or Amazon, and see how they use that to expand even more. Finally, an advantage that cloud computing has to offer is that it'll help remove language barriers, as cloud computing gives mobile devices user speech recognition that can instantly and accurately translate what is being said. This is huge for companies trying to get their products abroad, as limitations are slowly being taken away and they can now expand into countries that they never could have before. For example, say a small company starting on Ontario wants to expand and trade with a company in China. While very impressive, the cloud also has its disadvantages that come along with these advantages. Here are some advantages that will affect businesses that do rely on the cloud. Because it is all online, the cloud is susceptible to major downtime. Because of the constant need for internet connection, one of the biggest downsides to cloud computing is that there can be major downtime at any time. Because of the fact that the cloud relies on the internet to work, if the internet goes down at any time, which is very possible, a company can be left in the dark for days or weeks because of this. Another downside that the cloud offers businesses is that by putting all their output towards the clouds, a company can put its security and privacy at a big risk, because something as simple as the network being hacked can lead to the total downfall of a business. This has been seen in the past many times and is truly something that should be worried about when considering the cloud. While the cloud does offer great security, there's no such thing as a perfectly secure system. Also, another disadvantage that the cloud has is that deep-rooted systems can sometimes make it impossible to migrate from one system to another. If the switch does happen, it is very costly, and businesses put their security and privacy at a risk by transferring all their data from one cloud to another. Finally, another disadvantage that the cloud offers is that there's a major lack of customer support. Most services do not offer timely responses to their emails and phone calls, and they do not give the best customer service when talking to them. It is known that relying on frequently asked questions or going to online forums looking for answers is not always the best way. So this is another downside that the cloud has, because it can also put a business in the dark for days, maybe weeks, because of a small error that was not fixed in a timely manner.
Cloud computing has become a very useful tool in today's society, as my two other members have talked about. However, like most technology, it needs to be upgraded for the future. These are the top things you might see happen to cloud computing within the coming years. First of these is hybrid cloud computing. Hybrid cloud computing is probably what we're going to see develop within the next few years. This is where a company is not fully running on the cloud, but both on the cloud and on file. This is because paperwork is an essential part of our work environment. Hybrid cloud computing will also decrease the risk of people accessing the cloud and have the strength of allowing organization and the performance of on-premise solutions. The second thing that we're going to see is more innovation. Now we're going to have more innovation just because the cloud is going to have an increased competition in the cloud space. This will in turn lead to better products, services, and innovations within the cloud. The third thing I would like to talk about is security. When we think about the cloud, we think about the lack of security with businesses, with data. However, with the increased population going to the cloud, we're going to see a boost in security that will lead to more companies going to the cloud due to the better security, which will in turn have more of a rush, which will in turn have better security. We will soon see some of the best securities in the cloud. The last thing I would like to talk about is automatic computing. Automatic computing was developed in 2001 by IBM. This is how they define it as a self-managing system that can configure, optimize, and heal, as well as protect themselves without human intervention. If automatic computing mixes with cloud computing, it will change cloud computing as we know it, because it will enable organizations to more effectively harness the cloud. Now what I mean by that is, instead of relying on manual processing to optimize costs, usage, and security, they can allow the computer to do everything. This will allow businesses to treat the cloud like a broker. A business will configure an automatic system with governed rules. If the system breaks these rules, they can fix it and change it and make it back on course. These are the top 4 or 5 things that we will see in cloud computing.